ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for having me here. It's indeed a pleasure to be among the thought leaders in your respective industries, and certainly amongst you there must be some captains of industry. I really regard myself as privileged to share a few thoughts with you. I thought I should share a little bit with you regarding the leadership, management and thinking about developing the capacity in finance in government. We recently had the opportunity to develop a strategy, and there's so many strategies. Every week there's a white paper or a green paper or a policy or a bill. And what's changing? We still do not see the result that we would like to. I'm just going to share with you some thoughts from a practitioner's perspective. What I've observed in the last 25 odd years, and that the benefit of sharing with other practitioners in the public service. So leadership in finance, I think, needs to be reiterated on 4 levels: institutional leadership, organizational leadership, individual leadership, and stakeholder leadership. And please allow me just a minute or two to explain a little bit what I mean with institutional leadership. Institutional leadership is that collective process where Department of Finance, or the National Treasury as we call it, provincial treasuries, the Financial Service Board, the Auditor General, the Accounting Standards Board, and all the other regulators involved collectively take standards, implementation, capacity initiatives, performance measures, and the degree that it serves the purpose of government forward as a collective. And second area is organizational leadership. In South Africa, government is organized that there's departments, there's municipalities, there's public entities, and each of these have a director general or a chief executive officer, or in provinces we call them heads of departments. I think the Auditor General in South Africa is a great example. Auditor General used to be part of the public service, and in 1994 it was agreed that Auditor General will move out of the public service, they will start to charge for their fees, and they were confronted with this idea: how do we professionalize in our environment? And at this level, the organizational level, the practice shows that they've done 3 things exceptionally well. The first is they embraced professionalism. In 1994, there was one chartered accountant in the Auditor General's office. And they said, listen, if we are going to be counted amongst the best in the world, we will have to professionalize. And they instituted schemes to increase the number of chartered accountants. Not because of the profession, because of technical skill. And today they just have over 500 chartered accountants in the Auditor General's office. Huge improvement. Second thing they did, they embraced technology. They used electronic working papers. It was electronic format. An audit manager could sit in East London and he could review an audit file that was done in Polokwane. Huge efficiencies, just by professionalizing, by driving technology. And the third thing is embracing professional standards. The Auditor General today submit their work just like any other audit firm to reviews by IRBA. IRBA is the Independent Regulatory Board and Auditors. Their remuneration structure is based on the same. It's like in the private sector. And that is a good example how leadership in an organizational environment has really paid off in the public service. Then on the individual level, and I think maybe in your studies, a lot of this is already covered. But leadership styles, there's lots of frameworks, there's a lot of practical advice, and I'm certain where you are as MBA students, you have a lot of access to that kind of information. But I think there's 3 major differentiators in government on the individual level. And the first one is a challenge to the conventional role, in the sense that leaders are teachers. Especially when we talk about capacity development, a leader as a teacher, as a mentor, as a coach is a vital ingredient for us to progress as a financial management, in the area of financial management in the public sector. The second change in roles for leadership in the public sector is the role of steward. In the past, a manager had money, people, and time, and that manager was required to translate that in services, and that's more or less how it is. But these days, stewardship for the quality of services. The question, is this the right services? And is that services brought to the community in the right way? Is becoming more and more relevant. The third role that I think is changing dramatically in leadership in the government is the role of architect. Good examples is how we reformed the financial management frameworks in the last 20 years. We moved from the Exchequer Act to a Public Finance Management Act. It's based on principles and not on rules. Same with municipal finance. Our legislation is highly regarded internationally, and obviously we need to improve now how this would be implemented. Colleagues, I would like to also share with you the last one, the leadership area of stakeholders. Capacity in government can never be built only by government. Universities have a vital role to play. Professional bodies have a vital role to play. Community organizations have a role to play. And I fear that we don't hear enough. I can't remember when last a professional body has said, we are concerned about corruption in the public service, and here is 5 things that you can do. Let's engage and let's see how we can improve the integrity of the system. In conclusion, leadership in government is changing. It's affecting all of us. For us as a nation to win, to be recognized and to progress, we've got many challenges that we will have to deal with collectively. And I propose today from a practitioner's perspective that it needs to happen on an institutional level where we have collective leadership, agreed leadership. We stick to our guns. We don't change gear for a new economic policy every now and then. I propose that there must be strong organizational leadership, specifically at middle management. This notion that the leader alone, and let me qualify, the head of the department is the organizational head, but leadership is more than organizational power. I also propose that on an individual level, we have a certain sphere of influence, and we need to do the best we can to develop that, to perfect that, and to advance that. And then at the stakeholder level, we would like to see leadership progress through academia, professional bodies, taxpayers' organizations, civil organizations, and the community at large.